you say we're good, or, yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and call to order the finance meeting for Tuesday, March 15th, early version, 4:45 start. We have Chip, Cheryl, myself, Chief, Dana, Jack, and Teresa, and then Sharon is joining us in the audience. Welcome, Sharon. Action on minutes from the 15th. Any changes or updates?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Finance Director report. Dana, is it in here or is it in the? There it is. Anything that you wanted to call out specifically from your report?
No, not specifically, only that the Johnstown Community Improvement Corporation is still awaiting the IRS confirmation of the 501(c), and it was submitted on 9/28, and after 180 days, which is approaching at the end of this month, I'll contact them if I haven't heard anything.
Is that 180
It was
based?
stipulated by them. They
Based,
say,
okay.
Yeah, they
All
say,
right.
yeah, wait 180 days, please, before you contact
So
them.
they know it could
Okay.
take that long to,
Yeah.
all right.
So other than that, everything else appears to be in line with the budget so far. Revenues are kind of up some places and down in others. You can read more about that if you like, but nothing that's standing out significantly.
Okay. I think just the benchmarks that I usually have were 16% of the way through the year, 15.3% to the budget, but 5.5% up to last year. So at least to last year we're up, but to plan we're a little bit light. But you noted some of those, individual and the net profit piece, which are lagging just a little bit. But I think you said maybe to timing potentially relative to those. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions, Chip or Cheryl?
No, did we get some, I can't remember which fund we were looking at, the investment fund, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, yeah.
Was there any further word from our
Yes.
folks?
So the word on the Fifth Third Investments, the funds are not losing money. I was booking them to market value, and the market value is a little bit misleading. And the original cost value is what we want to book to, and the interest earned on that, which I hadn't been doing. So I'm going to change the way I've been reporting that, and I'm working with our accounting firm as well to fix what's been reported in prior years. Nothing would be necessarily fixed or changed as far as financial reporting, but going forward and for the purposes of these reports, you won't ever see any losses here. You'll only see gains.
That's encouraging. Thank you.
Yes.
That's the right kind of risk that you want, right? The other question was, and I sent out to the EMSI, that contract or subscription that Jim had for data for the mobility and stuff like that, that I think we've had almost for a year, but really haven't utilized it all. Is that right?
Correct. Bailey did look into that a little bit. I don't know how to analyze that report or that system at all, so I leave it to her and whomever else would like to look at it. And we are included in the subscription is training, so whomever would like to sign up for training and on that. I don't know if this is something that you want to do in your
What's the cost?
mobility hub. $8,000 a year.
8,000?
Yes.
I'm not sure we need our own MC subscription. I think we could get that through engineering firm would have their own, that we could talk to them and
Yeah.
let them eat the cost of the.
And we obviously haven't used it once.
Right, if we haven't used it in a year,
we
we're not
haven't.
gonna use it now.
Well, yeah.
I was planning on canceling unless anyone.
I would just
Yeah,
cancel it,
cancel.
and if we find we need it down the road, we can bring it back. How's that?
At least we know it's a thing, whereas before I don't think we knew that
Yeah.
was a thing. So
We didn't know it was a thing, so
Okay.
we're finding out.
I guess in the meantime, when is the subscription up?
September.
September? So it might behoove us in the interim, if there is anybody or any way that we can utilize this while we have it between now and September from the mobility standpoint, it might be beneficial to see.
Well, I'm not sure those folks need it because they have access either through their own or they're not depending on us to do it.
Potentially, yeah.
Uh,
But it just might be food for thought,
Yeah.
to maybe pass along to Bailey.
Yeah.
To know that we're gonna cancel it in September, but in the meantime, while we have it, if there's any way to utilize it to make some kind of ROI, would be beneficial.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we touched on that. Okay. Bank to book, looked good. Have we had, I can't recall if we had an update on the outstanding checks and canceling versus the unclaimed monies fund.
We haven't touched that yet in the, accounting review yet.
Okay, all right. Anything else for Dana? No. All right, we have the SSI server update. Dana, that is to you as well.
So the update that I have as of now, I passed this information along to Ben, and I believe I forwarded it on to Cheryl and Chip as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I spoke with Grant from SSI, and he wanted to offer a solution for while we're waiting to determine if our server can handle the data.
Right.
Did I send that on to you?
I don't,
You did.
I don't remember, but you probably did, but
Okay.
okay,
And
I
it
don't
was a little,
remember.
it was a note and what he had said and
Yes.
whether we go to the cloud or whether we,
Yeah,
The short of it is basically he was offering for us to get in line for the implementation, and they would offer to host it on the cloud for us for free until we got our server up to par. Now, the server, I don't have a lot of faith in the server as it currently sits right now. For example, it was down all day yesterday. And in speaking with Laura, I think that it goes down probably 4 or 5 times a year, possibly more. And all day yesterday was a big deal. She couldn't do any shut-offs, couldn't access the water system
Didn't we just update this?
whatsoever.
I thought we did.
Didn't we just buy a new server? This is the
It's
new
Not
one?
a new one.
It's 3 years old,
yeah,
apparently.
Yeah.
well, it's not that old.
That's old?
Yeah, in the server world. Yeah.
So the question,
Like buy open item or something?
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
the outstanding question was whether or not the data can be stored, the VIP data can be stored on our server. And the RAM for the server is good, but the CPU needed to be upgraded. And I reached out to Darren to ask what the cost would be to upgrade the CPU. And he was working on something and was still working on it as of today, so I don't have a quote on
Okay.
that yet. Just wanna put it
So,
out there.
see, the alternative is to move to the cloud
Yes.
and have it all cloud-based and not have to deal with this server issue.
Which that's the 10,000. We passed this all with the 10,000 with hopes that we could pull it out, right?
I don't remember, I thought we had taken it out, but I could be wrong.
I agree with Dana, I thought we took the
Did we take
10,000
it out?
out.
Yeah. I
So
don't
the
know.
10,000's for the cloud for every year, or how?
It's annual, yes.
Each year. It's a yearly fee.
So it is significantly more expensive, however, if we're gonna have to buy a new server every
3 years.
and upgrade the CPU, and then have the risk of all the data not being available for several days a year.
That's gonna be more expensive
that's
than
worse than-
$10,000.
Yeah,
The 10 grand.
and Dina, does other cities use the SSI? Do you know?
Yeah, Pataskala uses it, they use
Okay.
VIP.
Mhm.
They're just the one I can think of off the top of my head, but yes, they're.
And are they happy with it?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Wow.
Or I shouldn't say happy, I should say pleased. Are they pleased with it?
They're pleased with it.
I don't have that specific document. My opinion is, we've made the commitment on the investment, we need to get this thing online for the benefit of use for this stuff, as we take SSI up on their offer to host it while we do the background due diligence to understand what the cost benefit is gonna be between the two options, either hosting it in the cloud or what the server upgrade is going to be.
Yeah, I would hope Darren would have a number by the next
Yeah.
council meeting.
Right,
Or next finance at least.
Okay.
Mhm.
but that's my opinion, cause we're into March.
Yeah, we've been dancing around this for almost a year now, so.
I don't know how you guys feel.
most of the opinion that we bite the bullet and move it to the cloud and be done with it, and if the server is junk, we
Junk it.
junk it. You know, I mean, that's what you do with old servers, is you send them in the trash. I don't think they have any, you know,
I have no idea what a server would cost. I mean, I have no idea.
a lot.
Probably.
They're
It was
expensive.
more than 10,000 when we did it
I
before,
think-
I believe.
I wanna say 8,000.
Was it?
I think it was 12, I think the one I bought in New Jersey was 12,000, cause I had to replace ours like 3 times, and I was like sick of this.
So maybe the question, maybe the process is we take grant up on it to get in line for the implementation, explore the new server costs,
And then we decide
and then we decide whether we're gonna go with.
Which way?
With
with the
10,000
cloud
or
or we
we're gonna
go
go
to, yeah.
to
Okay.
server locally.
That sounds good to me.
With Darren having the context that this would be on that and that we would need a performance level to be able to match. That's my suggestion. I don't know if anybody else. Sharon, Ryan, Jack, thoughts? Chip,
I disagree at this moment.
you disagree at this moment? Okay. Ryan?
I have to look at it. See,
Okay.
I mean, I don't ever usually have a problem buying new tools, but, I mean, I get it if you need tools for the job, but I'd have to take a better look at it.
That's, I think, at least the exploration of the two options would give us the ability, and we at least get on
Mhm.
the agenda to move forward.
Sharon, why do you disagree?
I'd rather not say that.
Okay. That's not a good answer, you know that.
I'll go ahead and move forward with taking grant up on the option for SSI and then exploring those two other options from that standpoint. Is there a second?
What?
I made the motion
Oh,
to
you're
take
making a
grant up
motion.
on the
Oh.
on the opportunity to
Yeah,
host,
I'll second it.
while we explore those other two
Yeah,
options.
why not? I'll do it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so 3-0. We'll bring that up to council tonight, so everybody's aware of what the status is with that. And then Dana, you had an update on the city vehicle repair, which has been,
Yes.
what, 4 months at this point?
The car's done. They won't release it because they don't have payment. I reached out to Bradley Tucker several times over the past couple weeks. He is our contact over with the PEP insurance pool. And I reached out to him just the other day. Haven't heard back on the status of where the payment is, when the payment's going to be cut to KSEPs. I'll continue to follow up with him until I get an answer.
So it's done, but it's the,
Verbally, I was told by Brad that they would pay KSEPs and then through subrogation, get the monies from the other insurance company that the truck, who, you know, the truck driver with the tire that hit
right.
the car would subrogate that way.
okay,
So, which insurance company said they're gonna pay?
Ours,
Ours will
Ours.
pay
Oh, I
it,
see.
and then
Just to get
ours
the
will
vehicle
collect
released.
from the
Correct.
other insurance
yes.
company.
And that was a verbal confirmation that he gave me about a month
Okay.
ago. And I'm following up to see when and if that check is going to be sent over to KSEPs.
can I ask, just as a point of record, or note, when you got that verbal?
About a month ago.
About a month ago, okay. All right. Okay, that's good. I know I asked about that last time, because I passed by it in front of KSEPs for
It's sitting there.
about a month, and then it went away, and then I never saw it again.
I think they've got it inside or something, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And that was, because that was in 2 accidents, that's the big deal. There were 2 accidents around the same time frame, so
Yes.
you're talking about 2
Yeah.
different insurance companies.
Right.
Okay. All right, very good. Item 6, sanitary sewer line upgrade. Jack, you asked for this to be added, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. We're building a new, not we, but there's a new house being built at 144 Payne Street, which used to be the old carryout. And the assumption was that all the houses on that street came out to Payne Street where there is a sanitary sewer. When they asked for a variance on setbacks, because this is a very small lot, they moved the new house farther back off the road, which was fine. They went to tie into the sewer, and the gentleman said, well, it's Buddy Dow, said, well, this sewer, we're looking down there, it looks like it's going the wrong direction. We don't think it's actually a sanitary sewer, maybe it's hooked to a storm sewer. So I sent a crew up there, and we did some camera work on it. This sewer runs behind the 4 houses that it runs parallel to Payne Street. I don't know who put it together, it's on no map. There is no manholes on it. It is never plugged in 41 years. But now, with the variances and running the camera, now we have a house that's partially built, foundation's built, sitting on top of this sanitary sewer.
Oh, geez.
Also, in the camera work, we discovered that the gas company had bored a gas line through the middle of this sanitary sewer line as well. We contacted the gas company.
They went right through it.
Right through the center of it. Beautiful cuts on each side.
Well, it's clay, right?
It's clay,
Yeah.
so it bored right through it.
Yeah.
And, that can be a plugging problem itself, but I suppose since there's only 4 houses on it, it never got enough flow, and it's about halfway up the pipe, so everything flowed underneath it. Well, anyway, long story short, we now know it's there. We did a bunch of dye testing, and we know that these 4 houses, and it runs through the backyards, and we have no easements through these backyards. And preliminary conversation with the folks that live right on Jersey. They don't want anybody in their yard. They don't want to give any easements because, quite frankly, they were not happy that the house is being built on that small lot behind them. So it's time to remedy. There is an alley that runs down off of Payne Street, perpendicular to Payne Street. So what we can do, this is my proposal. We can actually take the front house at the edge of the Dow property, seal it off. That goes out to Jersey will be their service line and on as it is. We will reverse the flow on Dow's, which he'll bring it over. He'll tie it in. I want to put a manhole in the middle of that alley so we have access, because we couldn't have cleaned it if it ever would have plugged. We have no way into it. So I want to put a manhole there, and then the other 3 houses that head towards Elm Street, 2 houses that head towards Elm, I'm going to tie that line into that manhole. Then that manhole will have to go across the street on Payne and tie in. Now that may be confusing, but it actually gives us access, eliminates the front house that doesn't want to let anybody on their property, eliminates a sanitary sewer underneath a house that's flowing for other houses, and gives us an access to that line, which we have added to our mapping system at this point. The cost for doing this is $32,000. I believe it's necessary, A, because we don't have an easement to go through these other folks' properties, and B, I don't want the house sitting on top of this main, because if it would ever break or collapse, it'll be underneath his crawl space, and we have no way to access it. Now, is there a way to say that there is an easement because it has been there, obviously, before my time? It was built and put there, but we still have no access to clean maintenance or repair. So this cost would come, in my opinion, 100% out of the sanitary sewer funds, and that way we will have an access and eliminates a couple problems. We are also going to, we've called the gas company. They said, yes, that's a gas line, but it's been abandoned, and since it's not active, they won't move it. But it is close to where we're going to put the new manhole in if council or finance approves it, and then council approves it. So at that point, we will go in, cut that old gas line out that's out of service, and patch the sewer line while we were in there.
Where's the shut-off for that?
The gas, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's abandoned, it's a dead line. Because we contacted them, because we wouldn't want to move a live line. We're not going to cut into that, but he assured us that that line had been abandoned. He don't know how many years ago, but there's nothing flowing through it. They reversed all their flows, and it goes out towards Payne Street. Payne Street now.
So this falls under the village purview or the city purview, because we're the ones that want to move it.
Yes,
Otherwise, he would just build and we just wouldn't have access to it.
that is correct.
Yeah.
But then if he ever wanted to clean or there was a repair, if there was a break between Buddy Dow's house and where the Malone house comes out, he can't get on the Malone property to fix it
Yeah,
because they won't allow an easement.
yeah. All right.
So,
Sounds like another one of those
Damn if you do,
Yester-
damn if you don't.
Yeah,
yesteryear things that needs cleaned out.
I
Yeah.
know, and if we don't do it now, it'll come back
Tired
and haunt
of cleaning it up.
somebody else.
it'll haunt somebody else
And
when-
somebody
if and when
else.
the line collapses or breaks.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think we have a choice. I think we gotta
Yeah,
do
we
it.
gotta do what we gotta do.
I'm glad I'm,
Yeah.
Well, I am
about
too, and it's odd to me because almost every sewer line in this town in my tenure has plugged at one time or another, and the fact that that has never plugged in 41 years
Knowledge point.
is somewhat amazing, but there's only 4 houses on it.
yeah,
So I think the best move is to allow us to have access, because if it would have plugged,
Oh my God.
we had no way to get into it. We were gonna have to dig it up and break into the line anyway. So the manhole will give us access.
okay. Very good.
So the next thing is,
Well,
this has not been appropriated,
Right.
this money. Now, we do have enough money within what I'll call maintenance of facility and system. Now, will that run me short towards the end of the year? But I am willing to take it out of there if you want to, and then we'll just have to watch that budget line to see where we're at the end of the year.
I think we
Or,
just take it out now.
or we can increase the appropriation now and, deal with this independently.
Yeah, I don't think we need to kick the can. I think we just do
Yeah,
it
I
now.
think we
Let's just do it
pay
now.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments or anything? I think again, this will be one that we bring up to council. We'll do just a motion and a vote
Mhm.
for it.
They won't split it with us.
Mhm.
They won't split it with us. They want to build the house.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them.
They still
But
can
to-
build a house.
But
No, I know.
through the variance process, I guess, there's a variance,
Yeah.
they were told to push the house back, which then put it on top of the line. I do not deem this as their fault,
Yeah.
because we didn't know the line was there. And they run out across the property that doesn't belong to them. It's not in the road right away, it goes through the Malone's yard, and the Malones aren't willing to let anybody come on to do maintenance or repair. So it's
Another one-off.
But
We always have-
they're also, this manhole does give us access to this line,
Yeah.
which we did not have before for cleaning and maintenance. So I think it needs done.
I think we gotta do it.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we do whatever it is we're gonna do and pay for it out of existing sewer funds.
Okay.
Is that, I'll second. Teresa, did you understand enough to get that motion down?
Just $32,000.
Okay.
Well, I thought you were going to.
Well, we'll want an
We need to ask
appropriation.
Dana
Yeah,
how she wants to
I was
handle
unclear on
it.
that as well, so.
yeah, we'll want an appropriation ordinance,
okay.
yeah.
We'll have to do a,
Or just a separate PO to a contractor, or however you want to do it.
Sewer, enterprise improvements or operating?
Enterprise, because that's where it comes out of, that
Yeah,
line
that's
item,
where
yeah.
it comes out.
Enterprise.
Okay, so Chip and Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Very good. Additional road resurfacing costs, Jack?
Okay,
Jim?
as we discussed at the last meeting, I was able to get the,
Well, this came up in safety and service, right?
yes, the road crack
Oh,
seal and
good.
stuff, as
so
you
sorry.
know, due to crude oil prices, the cost estimate was not valid, and it went from 189 to, I believe, something like 288 or something like that. So we reduced the scope of the number of streets we're gonna do, which dropped out a lot of Concord crossing roads from having, it's, again, understand, it's not a mill and fill, it's the resurfacing with the microfill to make the road last longer, to prevent it from crumbling. So we discussed at that time that there was more money coming in, possibly. So we locked in the 189 at the fewer roads, but we were gonna discuss some finance if you wanted to put more money to it to get up to or close to the resurfacing that was in the original items of 1, 2, and 3.
Well, some of that too, did you happen to follow back up with them about the quote? Because if I recall 2 weeks ago, the conversation was the price of oil was driving up the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Did you follow up with them at all to confirm that the quote they gave us was still good?
He said it would be good until tomorrow morning, because he said if you want to go back to the finance,
The truck,
huh?
is this the truck?
No, this is for the quote on the oil, or on the roads resurfacing.
Oh,
The
this,
roads that we
okay.
did priorities 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3
Right.
at
Yeah.
189.
He said he would hold that number because actually, the more roads he does, the less cost per lane mile. So he said if I would call him Wednesday morning and let him know if we've increased the number of roads or not, but he would hold at the 189 till we made a decision at today's meeting.
So is it the ones with the red mark, does that mean,
Those are the ones that he pulled out that he would be able to do at that same price.
he would be able to do?
Yeah, so anything that doesn't have this mark here are ones that were not able to be put into that 189 price that would not be attended to this construction year.
Okay.
So the question that's in front of finance then is, do we want to take any more, can we take any more out of general fund to CIP?
Or do you just want to expend the 189 knowing we're getting less coverage on
Well,
the
the
roads?
carryover we have in CIP, we've got 149 sitting in carryover.
Currently, we do.
I thought we zeroed that out.
We did, and I need to look back at that number and make sure that everything was reappropriated correctly from the carryover amounts that were booked last year. We ended up with more money there because we had an OPWC reimbursement on, the Oregon Street project late last year. So we put a bunch of money back into that fund. Also, we had an additional 24,000 go back in, or will be going back in this month for right-of-way payments from the Casson Street project. So that's gonna increase that
That
balance.
goes into the right-of-way fund.
Well, a portion of it is right away correct, but another portion of it was for change orders specifically for the Casson Street project paid by Columbia Gas.
So then in my mind, with respect to whether or not we have the ability to do it, it's just how much do you trust the numbers at this point in the year? If we're under projection by less than 1%, but we're beating 2021 by 5% in terms of
Sorry.
total revenue, do we think we're gonna have more money?
Do you
Or
mind if I look at that a little bit closer?
like you talked about in safety and service, do we need to hold more back because we would anticipate contracts to increase that haven't been signed yet for other projects that we have coming up this year, namely Jersey Street, because Jersey Street,
You have Jersey Street, and you also have the Edwards Road bid
Yeah.
that will be opened on the 21st. The Edwards Road resurfacing.
so for me, with the volatility, I'm inclined to keep the dollar amount and do what we can for 189 and not overextend with the understanding that we have other projects coming up that we could see similar increases in the budget because of that volatility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because on the Jersey Street project, I think we have slightly over 300,000 our share.
Yeah.
And if the bid comes in high, that'll all be on us. That won't come out of any more grant because on that, I think rough numbers, we have 500 grant, 500 0% interest loan, 500,000, and then 300,000 is the village.
Is that you or is that me?
That's me.
Okay. And that's the concerning part with Jersey for me is that those engineering numbers were 2 years ago. We redid them
Yeah.
last fall, but really added 10%, I believe, if not 15.
Yeah, roughly 10%.
To what we submitted, and I doubt apples to apples today that's going to hold a real world comparison. And that's my concern because we want to do Jersey.
It'll probably get
Period.
worse too. But
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to stay with the 189 and do it.
Do what we can. If we find out later, or we push it off till next year.
I think at this point you'd push it off till next year because the mobilization fees, you know, he said the more roads you do, the more lane miles you do, the better price I can give you. So I would say if this is what we're going to do, let's do that. And then very soon, we need to discuss, because Ohio Public Works will have to go in September. I need to start working on next year's, whether we want to try to resurface another road, whether we want to just do a more top coating of roads, you know, because I got to start getting the grant paperwork
Yeah, we got
and applications together.
some of those and figure them out.
All right.
yeah, let's just play it safe on this.
Stick with the 189 and do
Yeah.
those roads. Yes, I understand that completely.
So that, to me, doesn't necessarily require a motion or a vote because we're not really changing
We're not
anything.
changing anything.
We're changing the priority level of the roads that we're doing at the budget level that we,
At
Does
the
that make
same
sense?
budget level, yeah.
Yeah, no, this
Nothing.
is fine. It was brought here just in case we wanted to put a little more money to it.
I'll also bring it up in council tonight as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, no, we're good.
We've got two other items on here, 8 and 9, income tax and impact fees, but real quick for other business, because I want to make sure we end a little bit early so that we don't, we're not right up against 5:45. For other business, I had one item. I just want to hit that
okay.
first. Was there any
Thought it
other
was
business
5:30.
that?
I do too.
I have
It is.
other
5:30.
business.
It's 5:30, not 5:45.
Oh, it is 5:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have very little
We've got
time
about,
left.
yeah,
I
7 minutes.
have one very important item for other business.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, I was in a Parks meetings this afternoon, but I got a call from Coghlan Ford on our truck, our 550. Due to parts in the war in China, Chip heard him because I put him on speakerphone. They have a truck that's available. They have 5 trucks that are available that we can have one of those, and we will receive it this year. But there's an increase, not in the chassis, but in the plow, the lighting package, and different things that have to be on the truck to plow snow. Increase of $8,100. Or we do not have a truck on order because they said, we don't have any trucks available, we're canceling all orders. The only reason we're under consideration for this one is because of the date we got it in. Anything that went in after this date, they're canceled and you won't reapply until 2023, which we might get the truck sometime in 2024.
Wow.
So we need to take what we can get. is what you're
And
saying.
basically I said, well, if we decide to wait, what are we looking at for next year? And he said, oh my gosh, price of trucks. He said, I can't promise you anything. So, but if we did not want this truck, well, if we want this truck, I have to call him first thing in the morning, because if we don't want it, there's another community that wants it.
So we need to take it.
I think we have to take it.
I think we have to take it.
Otherwise, we're waiting 2 years.
That's the easiest item on the agenda, Jack.
Well, it's an additional $8,000 that
Right.
I wanted to make sure was brought to your attention.
So I'll make the motion that we move forward with the
Okay.
additional,
I'll second.
I'll put $9,000 to cover our bases for the truck.
Okay.
Chip second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We bought a
All right. The only other thing that I just wanted to call out, these other two items will just have to wait until April. Dana, just wanted to put out there, I didn't know, priority-wise, the water and sewer breakout analysis that we look at on an annual basis.
I can get that together in about a week.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we just have it by next meeting in April, I think that would be fine.
when do we normally do that?
We typically do it at the beginning part of the year for what is
Okay.
expected for the balance of the year. Last year, we waited until October just because of the oddness of how things were shaking out, but if we can get after it earlier, that's probably
Alrighty.
better. Anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye, we are adjourned.
okay.